Hi, welcome to today's episode of LAWBY podcast. In this episode, we are diving into an empowering topic, the evolving rights of an unmarried daughter. We have segregated this episode into 4 parts with the basic rights of an unmarried daughter: the right to property, right to maintenance, right to education and employment, right to freedom and consent. Have you ever heard, "You're a girl, act like one"? Sounds familiar, right? As we all know, India is a country of cultures, religions, and with ethnic diversity. People in India belong to various communities, religions, caste, cultural backgrounds, and linguistic with their own tradition and practices. In 2022, India's female population was 685 million, and according to the 2011 census, India is home to 71.4 million single women, that is, the unmarried women. In India, girls have historically been nurtured with an emphasis on becoming exemplary spouses and mothers, with marriage traditionally regarded as a paramount life objective for them. 2022, in rural and many parts of India, unmarried women frequently encounter perceptions of being an additional responsibility within their own families. The unmarried individuals often have limited autonomy, and numerous widows are compelled to relocate to other cities. When it comes to unmarried daughters, historical factors contribute to the continued challenges that prevent many daughters from living on their own terms. The legal rights of unmarried daughters in India have evolved significantly over time, reflecting broader shifts in societal norms and legal reforms. These rights encompass a range of aspects, including inheritance, property ownership, maintenance, education, and more. This evolution seeks to empower unmarried daughters and ensure their equitable treatment within the legal framework. Understanding these legal rights is essential for promoting gender equality and providing unmarried daughters with the agency to make informed decisions and lead self-determined lives. From traditions to transformations, let's get into the empowered journey of unmarried daughters. Right to property. Let's all for 1 second envision a land where deities are often depicted as mighty women, yet real-life women who hold these divine figures in reality find themselves denied a fundamental right, the right to their own ancestral or paternal property. The irony is that these devoted women who uphold religious traditions often lose their claim to property once they enter into marital bonds and leave their parental homes. We shall now dive into the ancestral property and autonomy, the modern narrative of unmarried daughters. It is safe to say that it has evolved significantly due to legal reforms aimed at promoting gender equality. The Hindu Succession Amendment Act 2005 was pivotal in granting unmarried daughters equal rights to inherit ancestral property. Before the amendment, under the Hindu Succession Act of 1956, only sons were considered co-partners and had the right to inherit ancestral property. Daughters were often excluded from this right. This practice was rooted in patriarchal norms and customs. Fast forwarding to the 2005 amendment marked a significant shift in the legal landscape. It aimed to rectify gender-based discrimination by giving daughters equal rights to ancestral property and making them co-partners in their own right, granting them the same status as sons in matters of inheritance. Double quoting inheritance here. This means they have an equal share in ancestral property, including property acquired by their father, grandfather, or great-grandfather. Whether married or unmarried, daughters shall have an independent right to inherit and own property. In the landmark case of Prakash vs. Poolavati and others, they reinforce the right of unmarried daughters to inherit ancestral property. The Supreme Court held that the amended provision of the Hindu Succession Act applies retrospectively, meaning that daughters have a share in ancestral property even if the father died before the amendment was enacted. The right to inherit ancestral property is based on the principle of gender equality. The amendment recognizes daughters' social and economic contribution to the family and ensures that they are not deprived of their rightful share of family property. It's important to note that the right to inherit ancestral property applies to situations where the property was not partitioned or divided before December 20, 2004. In cases where the partition has already occurred, the amendment may not apply. Despite legal reforms, there are still challenges related to awareness, implementation, and resistance to change, especially in certain regions and communities. Some families may not be fully aware of the amended provisions, leading to the dispute over property inheritance. When it comes to personal laws, under Muslim law, unmarried daughters have the right to inherit from their father's property. However, their share is generally half of what a son would receive. This right is recognized under Islamic inheritance principles known as Sharia. Under Christian law, property rights for unmarried women are governed by the Indian Succession Act of 1925. Unmarried daughters have equal inheritance rights as sons and can inherit a share of their father's property. From dependency to termination, unmarried daughters taking the lead. Overall, the right of unmarried daughters to inherit property is a significant step towards gender equality and empowerment. It aims to give women economic independence, strengthen their legal status, and challenge deeply entrenched gender norms. Next segment of this episode is right to maintenance. Let's untangle the threads. Maintenance for women indeed a seat built in a passenger seat. The right to maintenance for unmarried daughters in India is a legal provision that ensures financial support from their parents if they cannot sustain themselves financially. This right recognizes the duty of parents to provide for their unmarried daughters' basic needs and well-being. Under Indian law, the right to maintenance for unmarried daughters is governed by various statutes, including personal law, the Code of Criminal Procedure, and the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act 2007. Unmarried daughters are eligible for maintenance when they are unable to support themselves financially. This could be due to factors such as unemployment, illness, or any other reasonable cause that prevents them from being self-sufficient. Different personal laws apply to various religious communities in India. For example, under Hindu law, an unmarried daughter can claim maintenance from a father under the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act of 1956. Under Muslim law, an unmarried daughter has the right to maintenance until her marriage or until she is capable of earning her livelihood. Under Christian law, an unmarried daughter has the right to maintenance from a father until her marriage. Section 125 of the CRPC provides for maintenance to be granted to wives, children, including unmarried daughters and parents. If an unmarried daughter is unable to maintain herself, her father has a legal obligation to provide for her maintenance. A relevant case law illustrating the right to maintenance for unmarried daughters is the case of Jasbir Kaur Sehgal versus District Judge, that an unmarried daughter unable to maintain herself is entitled to claim maintenance under the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act of 1956. The father must maintain her unmarried daughters even if they live separately from their mother. The amount of maintenance varies based on factors like the father's financial capacity, the daughter's needs, and the standard of living. Courts take these factors into account while determining the maintenance amount. Courts can enforce maintenance orders through legal mechanisms including attachment of property or wages if the father fails to provide the ordered maintenance. Despite legal provisions, awareness and enforcement remain challenges. Some daughters may be unaware of their right to maintenance, while others may face difficulties in providing their need for financial support. In summary, the right to maintenance for unmarried daughters in India is a legal safeguard that ensures financial support for those unable to sustain themselves. Let's look into the next segment of this episode. Right to education and employment. The right to education and employment for unmarried daughters in India is fundamental to gender equality and empowerment. Ensuring access to education and employment opportunities enables unmarried daughter to pursue personal and professional growth. The right to education is a fundamental right guaranteed to all citizens of India under Article 21A of the Constitution. This right ensures that every child, irrespective of gender, has a right to free and compulsory education until the age of 14. Unmarried daughters have the same entitlement to education as their male counterparts. Like all women, unmarried daughters have the right to seek employment opportunities based on their qualification and skills. This right is protected by various laws that prohibit gender-based discrimination in the workplace. Although not specific to unmarried daughters, in this case, Indira Sahane vs. Union of India, commonly known as the Mandal verdict, upheld the reservation policy for backward classes, including women. This decision has broader implications for ensuring equal opportunities for women regardless of their marital status. In conclusion, the right to education and employment for unmarried daughters is a vital aspect of gender equality and empowerment. Right to freedom and consent. The right to personal freedom and consent is a fundamental aspect of individual autonomy and dignity. In the context of unmarried daughters in India, this right ensures that they have the agency to make decisions about their own lives, including matters related to marriage, relationships, education, and personal choices. The right to personal freedom ensures that individuals have the autonomy to make choices and decisions that reflect their values, aspirations, and preferences. This right encompasses the freedom to pursue education, careers, hobbies, and relationships without undue interference. The right to consent is linked to personal freedom. It ensures that individuals have the power to make decisions about their lives and others must respect their choices. Consent is crucial in matters such as marriage, medical treatment, relationships, and personal matters. For unmarried daughters in India, the right to personal freedom and consent is particularly important as it challenges traditional expectations that may limit their choices. This right empowers them to make decisions about their education, career, life partner, and other personal matters based on their own desires and aspirations. In the case of Lata Singh vs. State of Uttar Pradesh 2006, they dealt with the right of adult individuals to choose their life partners without interference from their families. The Supreme Court emphasized that adults have the right to make decisions about their personal lives and their parents cannot force them into marriages against their will. While societal norms have traditionally influenced decisions related to marriage and other personal matters, attitudes are gradually evolving. More people recognize the significance of respecting an individual's autonomy and choices irrespective of their marital status. Despite legal principles, challenges related to cultural expectation and societal pressures may still influence the exercise of the right to personal freedom and consent. Overcoming these challenges requires a combination of legal reforms, awareness campaigns, and cultural shifts. In conclusion, the right to personal freedom and consent is a crucial element of individual empowerment and autonomy for unmarried daughters in India. This right empowers them to make decisions about their lives based on their own values, aspirations, and preferences, thereby promoting their overall well-being and agency. Personal freedom and universal right. Unmarried daughters scripting their life stories. In India, the evolving legal framework recognizes the rights of unmarried daughters as a vital step toward gender equality, empowerment, and societal progress. Through legislative reforms, judicial precedents, and changing societal attitudes, unmarried daughters now have a multifaceted range of rights encompassing inheritance, property ownership, maintenance, education, employment, residence, personal freedom, and consent. These rights signify a departure from traditional norms that once limited their opportunities and autonomy. By affirming the inherent dignity and agency of unmarried daughters, these rights contribute to building a more equitable and inclusive society where every individual, regardless of their marital status, can flourish, contribute to their communities, and shape their own destinies. As India continues on its journey toward gender parity, the recognition and protection of the rights of unmarried daughters stand as a testament to the nation's commitment to fostering a just and progressive society for all. That's it for the day. Thank you for listening to us. Subscribe and support us. Stay tuned, stay lobbyfied.